I'd like to now go ahead and introduce Andy Garrett to you. So for our next session, Andy from Web Connect will be providing a session on Web Connect and automating the order to cash cycle. Andy and Web Connect are some new friends of ours. We recently found them working on several shared customers, and then at the WUG we've managed to hook up and chit chat about things. So really like these folks. Now, Web Connect itself is kind of a sales enablement toolkit. It allows P21 organizations to extend the use of their P21 system by integrating with a pretty robust set of sales side tools to allow for reporting, communication, collaboration, and a whole bunch of things that kind of extend that functionality of your base P21 system. So with that, let me hand the system over here to you, Andy, and take it away.
All right, thank you very much. If I can figure out how to do this, how do I share screen? Let's start with this guy, I guess. Okay, let me see if I can start a PowerPoint here.
Looking
you
good.
guys see the PowerPoint presentation at this point, or
right now I'm reading your email.
Perfect. That's exactly the one I was hoping you would do. Just a second. All right. Well, I was going to do a little PowerPoint presentation, and I'm still trying to figure out how I'm going to go from screen to screen in this, because we will be looking at a couple of different screens. But I can kind of forego the PowerPoint presentation. Nobody really likes to see them anyway. But basically, all I was going to point out is that Web Connect is pretty much like Brad said, it's an extension of your Prophet 21 system. So it has a lot of features that do things you could, if you wanted to, do inside of P21, but in a lot of ways, we do things that you can't do inside of P21. We make things easier. We do provide a lot of business intelligence type stuff. So, I mean, you can see a lot of information about your customer base. You can see a lot of information about specific customers. You can drill into things like contacts, and even we do email integration, marketing campaign integration, things along those lines. The Web Connect system installs basically right next to your P21 database. So it's reading live data. So, I mean, you're looking at stuff it's pretty much real time. When you're creating a task or an opportunity or a contact or a prospect or something like that, you're actually basically putting that information right into your P21 database at that time. So it's a very tight integration. We are P21 focused and centric. We don't do anything but P21 at this particular juncture. So it's pretty dedicated to that P21 environment and world that we live in out there. Let's see. There are a ton of different features in the system. We will go through some of them today. I'm going to take kind of a straight line through one of the neat features that I really like right now, which is this email integration, which is why I have my Outlook inbox open. These are dummy emails, so don't worry, I'm not seeing anything really critical for my stuff right now. What I wanted to show you right now, that this is probably, this feature got me really excited. It's something we put together called our Outlook add-ins. And what I really like about this one is that it allows you to use P21 directly from within Outlook. And when I first saw the system and I first got a copy of it and started demoing it for myself and playing around with it, I got really, really, really excited about the way things were working with it. Mainly because one of the challenges that we face is keeping our contacts in sync. So if you're like a lot of organizations out there, you'll have sales reps that are out in the field that they may work with people at an organization, but those contacts somehow never make it into P21. They'll be in Outlook or they'll be in their phone, so you might have a phone number and all the information there, but you may never actually get them into P21. And if you're trying to do something like a marketing campaign or any other kind of communication out there, it's just critical that you have these people inside of Prophet 21 so you can mine that information, especially if you're going to do things like link a contact to an order. There's all kinds of reporting that you can do out there based on what contact actually goes ahead and buys something or is listed that contact on an order, which is really nice if you need to know, who am I actually selling a certain type of product or a product group to, or from a supplier. You can't get that analytic if you don't have the contact inside of P21. And you also, it's so much better if you have that contact in there. It's better to be able to manage and keep their phone numbers up to date, have one source of truth for that contact. And the first thing I noticed, if you guys are seeing my screen, so this is a dummy email I got. It's from John Riggins. We put this together from Bob. Bob Anderson suggested I contact you regarding some fittings we're going to need for the Hammond's Tower project. Okay. Can you give me a quote on 3/8-inch threaded hose fittings, various lengths, blah, blah, blah. It's all very good. So the first thing I noticed is that Bob, if you look over here in my views, I've got Bob as my people. Bob is actually in P21, but I don't have John Riggins in P21 right now. So that's really, I thought that was just very, very neat because it goes out and it looks for the email addresses that are in this Outlook message. And it says, is this contact by email address inside of P21? If not, it gives you this button to go ahead and add it to P21. If you do have a contact that is inside of P21, it's going to go try to find a matching customer or account that is linked to this email address. And then if it can find that, it can bring back all kinds of contextual information about that customer that's in focus. So I think this is really, really cool because I'm looking at this, I'm looking at Action Industry Supply. Within this pane, within Outlook, I can see as I'm getting ready to reply to this email, I can see the account, which is Action Industry Supply. I can see some open tasks here that I've got to do. These are P21 tasks. I've got open opportunities down below that. So that's kind of neat. I see all the opportunities that are out here. I can drill down into the account detail, the customer detail, and it's going to bring back some really interesting metrics about this customer. So we get some year-over-year order dollar information, more information about all of the open tasks that are out there. There's more information about opportunities as well that are focused to us specifically for this account, this customer. I can see the contacts that are linked to this customer, as well as customer notes if I want to, and pop all this information open. Not only can I see this information, I can add new contacts from here. I can go back to the detail information and view more information. I can click here to go ahead and try to call for my computer. I probably never would do that, but I do have a click-through link to see this information if I need to. I can go back to the details. I can open up Bob Anderson, this contact specifically. And instead of having to go and maybe I've got a new phone number down here that they put into the body of the email, instead I can check on this real quick. And instead of having to go open up P21 and manage this, I can just edit it right here. What I really like is this one right here, is this add to P21. I don't have to take the time to say, yeah, I probably need to add this guy to P21 at some point. I can just do it right now. So add to P21, put in the email address, J. Riggins at Action Industry Supply. Go ahead and select the customer, which is Action Industry Supply. Right. You go ahead and put in the name, John and Riggins. And I'm going to call this guy a purchasing manager or sales rep or something. Normally we'd have the title on that email. I did not put it on here. Sales rep or sales. Let's make this guy a sales manager. He just got a promotion. That's great. Phone number, yes, it is 888-999-7278. All right, great. I could put some notes in here if I want to, but basically just save this in. And now John Riggins is in P21. I didn't have to go remember to do this. I didn't have to open P21 to do this. I didn't have to do any of these things. I think that's really, really pretty cool. Now, if I go back over here and look at Action, and I see this information again about Action Industry Supply. Another neat thing we've added into these add-ins is that you can click this contextual drop down here, and you can open this customer in P21. Now, I don't have my P21 environment wired up right now to do this, but I can open it also in Web Connect. And this is what's really cool about these add-ins, another really cool feature. You don't have to have the full version of Web Connect to use the add-ins. You can get the add-ins separately. So if all you want is the stuff that works in Outlook, and this is all you really need for your team to start out with right now for a CRM system, you can get all the contact management stuff here. you could get this customer detail information, which I think is really pretty cool. You get the task integration, so you can assign tasks to people and view and review tasks and even complete tasks right from within Outlook, and opportunity integration right from within Outlook. So you can go ahead and start using opportunities and tasks if you're not using them right now in P21 in a really, really user-friendly environment. You don't have to have the full version of Web Connect to do this. But we're going to make it even better, because let's say you are using Rubbertree and you want to be able to fire open Rubbertree from these add-ins. We're going to make that available to you as well. So if you want to just fire up, right now I can go ahead and fire up Web Connect, but if you've had Rubbertree or some other, even if it's your custom CRM system that you've rolled yourself, we can even accommodate you firing up and opening a detail there. I'm going to show you what it looks like to open Web Connect. So from here, I'll go ahead and pop open Web Connect proper, and I don't know quite how I'm going to show this screen. So are you guys able to see the Web Connect screen, Brad, at this point? Or am I still in Outlook? Let's see if I can share. There it is. Share this screen. All right. So, so this is the customer detail now inside of Web Connect. So this is pretty cool. That we saw a lot of really cool information about the customer inside of Outlook itself. This is what the customer detail screen looks like in Web Connect. Now, if you have another CRM out there that you're using that's integrated, that you could pass on the parameters of, say, a customer ID and a company ID, great, we can fire that open as well. But this is what you see inside of Web Connect. Lots of metrics here. Year-over-year order and invoice history is available. You can see all kinds of neat stuff about suppliers, product groups, and all kinds of neat stuff along these lines. That is improving and declining product groups, all kinds of neat metrics. You can open up the customer address. You can, if you want to, grant permission to edit the address directly here inside Web Connect if you want to. You can do a lot of CRM-based stuff that are directly linked to this customer, like opportunities, sales calls, tasks. You can do the contacts that are associated with this customer if you want to. And here's John Riggins, the one we just added in, and he's in P21 as well. I really like the grid view for the contacts as well. So this is a neat feature inside of Web Connect that I think is pretty interesting, because you can see gaps in what you have. So for like Al Jones here, I see that I don't have a cell phone or email address, that type of stuff. But here's John Riggins, our new sales manager. I can edit this right here if I want to, and just add basic information, like if I do have a direct phone, I want to add that, and I can put that in right there. But I can also open up a detail of John Riggins, and this is some really cool stuff. So if we mentioned like integrating quotes and orders, and you're adding the contact, you put John Riggins on a quote or an order, you start to see some interesting sales information that build up over time for your specific contacts that are out there. So I think that's pretty neat stuff. I'm going to try to go back though. I'm going to see if I can share my Outlook screen again. Do share. Let's try to share. Yeah. All right. So I'm sharing now the Outlook. One thing I want to do, I think this is really cool. So if you have Web Connect, or if you don't have Web Connect, you might want to create a task. This one, I think I probably would. So I got this email. Bob Anderson suggested I get him my once quotes on some other things. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and create a new task. I'm going to make this host fittings. And I'm going to say this is action. Again, action industry supply. And I'm going to make this a blah, 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 whatever. It doesn't matter what this is. We're going to make it a quote. That's what we're going to do. And I'm going to make the primary contact go ahead and be John Riggins, because this guy we just added in. And the due date, I'm going to make it today. And I'm not going to complete this. And for the body of the notes, I'm just going to go ahead and copy this and put it in my notes. Isn't that neat? Go up here, I'm going to save this task. So now I have a brand new task called host fittings down here. It's in my open task pane, and I can take a look at that guy, and it's sitting right here. And then I can, if I want to, I can go ahead and view this in Web Connect again. Try to share my screen again. See if I can go back and forth. I'm not very good at this stuff, I guess. Share. Web Connect screen. So hopefully you guys are able to see my Web Connect screen at this point. This is that task that I just created in Outlook. It's now in Web Connect. It's now in P21. It's really cool. I can go through and do all the stuff. I can change assign tos. I can add more contacts. We let you attach documents to this if you want to do that kind of stuff. Create follow-ups, all those kinds of stuff, and work with this. Now, if I have assigned this task, let's say I actually assigned this task to David, whoever the heck this guy is right here. If I assign this to David Emmerman, and you have the Web Connect system, he would have gone ahead and gotten an email that notified him that we've assigned him a new task. And in this case, it's his task to put this quote together for John Riggins out here. And if he opens the Web Connect system, he would see an alert that pops up on the screen. Hey, you got a new task assigned to you. You can go take a look at. So it automatically is going to notify your guys. So imagine, the workflow here. I'm an inside sales rep. I get this email about a quote. I create a task and assign it to a sales rep. The sales rep's automatically notified. They automatically have a task. They're seeing it on their phone. They get an email, all of this stuff. So now John's got this quote. He would probably open up and look at the customer detail, try to figure out a little more information about the customer. We'll go ahead and do that again. Do a little research about these guys. What's their purchasing habits? What's the stuff that they need or they don't need? So we go over here to sales with product group comparisons. See things like fittings. What are their sales volume in fittings? Is it up and down? Up or down? Is it pretty much the same? I can look at that for the item level information, and see they buy the 10143 base toast fitting. So I want to make sure and quote them on those guys. Here's their monthly stuff. I see it's a little bit cyclical. It looks like they'll go through June and July for pretty hot for hose fittings for some reason. And interesting. I can look at that on a chart and kind of see, it just kind of pops up and down. So a lot of these metrics are available kind of right here inside of Web Connect. Now, what I probably want to do at this point, if I am going to go ahead and work with John and put this stuff together, I'm going to go ahead and do a new quote. Web Connect allows you to not only do the CRM type of stuff, so you can create tasks and opportunities and do the business intelligence stuff, but we also have a module out there that will actually allow your sales reps in the field to create a P21 quote without having to actually log into P21. That could be real handy if you really don't want to give your sales reps access to the full P21 system, and all you want to do is let them do some stuff inside the CRM and then be able to really lock down permissions if you want to inside of Web Connect for what they can do with quotes. There's all kinds of routing you can do and permissions you can set up that say, hey, I want this sales rep to be able to create only quotes in Web Connect. I want them to be able to always send them into P21 as unapproved things, or I can even not even allow them to send them to P21 and have a sales manager review them inside of Web Connect and make changes if I want to do that. So I'm going to show you how to do that real quick by doing the new remote order. And what this is going to do is open up a form. And notice I was on the customer detail for Action Industry Supply. So it pre-populated. It thinks it knows that I want to create a quote for Action Industry Supply. So I didn't have to look up the customer. If I did, I could come over here and search for them with all kinds of search tools to find the customer. But I know the customer's already in focus. Now the contact, I do want to go ahead and put John on here, John Riggins, because this is the guy that's asked for the quote information. Go ahead and select him. And then from here, there's a lot of different ways that I can add items to this quote. Oh, by the way, I just need to check quote to make sure it's a quote. And that's about all I need to do with that guy. I can go over here to add items one at a time. So I know it's that 10143 based item that I have that he's bought before. So I'm going to select this guy, add him in. It's going to go get P21 pricing. So this is exactly how the customer is set up inside of Prophet 21 for pricing, which is really cool. You can change the quantity, unit of measure. If there's multiple here, there aren't, unless maybe in the box, maybe. But I can change the price if you give them permission. A really neat thing, if you want to lock down sales reps so they can't change the price on quoting and ordering, you can do that. Just go ahead and lock it out, and then it'll just bring back the P21 price, and they can't change it. Save this guy in. Then I can, if I want to, I can add some notes on this guy, use some line item notes if I want to do that kind of thing. I can look at order history for this guy. So I just pop open the basic information about the item here. This is where my quantities are on hand and all of this stuff, but I can also look at things like this specific order history. So it looks like we ordered 100 of them back on in 14, and 13 we ordered 15, and another 13 we ordered 5. So they have ordered this item before. It's always been this $5.12. So probably leave it like that. So you get great information here to have. So if I want to now, I can just go through here and select these guys one at a time. But there's also other ways that you can go ahead and add items to this quote. And my favorite is this bulk add items. So we can do this from sales history. And so I know this is a 10143 item. So we do this. Let's find this guy. Set sign on it. Test this before I. Oh, I need to go back in time for. Sorry. That finds us anything. Yeah. Well, right now, I'll just go ahead and figure out. Probably I got some parameter here I'm not working with correctly. I'm just going to go ahead and add some different items. It's real easy to do this from the bulk add side. Just do 3, 4, 3, 4, 5, and then just add the selected items. When I do that, it's going to go ahead and calculate the pricing for all these, mark them as quoted. I go back to the order, and here are all those items listed sitting here on this order. So from here, I can do some really cool stuff. I mean, I can edit the pricing. I can export this to a CSV file for a little Excel file if I need to. Maybe I just want to export that and send him over a spreadsheet. I can do that so he has the pricing and work with that. That's pretty neat stuff. But I can also just go ahead and email this directly out of Web Connect, and I can email it to myself, or I can go ahead and select John Riggins, and I can email him directly off the email address that we set him up in a contact earlier off that email if we want to, which I think is pretty cool. Put a subject in here, and away I go. I can email that and send that to me or him, and it comes in a really nice PDF format, or it can be the body of the email. You can do it either way. We have a configuration setting that lets you figure out how you want the quotes to go out. It's not the P21 quote. It's one that we build in Web Connect. So we can actually do some different stuff with it, like put disclaimers on it saying, hey, this is a web quote. This silly sales rep we've got, we don't really trust him. But you can do things like that, or say, quantity available. So all kinds of disclaimers and different ways we can format this quote that comes out of Web Connect that's different than the one out of P21 if you want, or you can make it look identical if you want to do that as well. I can confirm this. If I confirm that, all that does is say, hey, I'm done working with this quote inside of Web Connect. I want to send that into Prophet 21 now and let it do its thing there. And so you can do that either way. Some people live just straight out of Web Connect for quoting and never send those quotes into P21. Other people go ahead and do send quotes into Prophet 21. It just depends on how you want to do things. I'm going to do something, though, that I think is kind of interesting. So I've got this quote inside of Web Connect, and I think I want to, we had that task, the task for this stuff, and I know this is going to be a pretty big order. I mean, it's already up to $1,900, but I know they're wanting a bunch of these hose fittings as we move forward. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and add this this remote order to an opportunity. So I can do this a couple of ways. If I already have an opportunity out there somewhere that I built in P21, I can just go find that opportunity and add this quote to an existing P21 opportunity, and that's fine. But in this case, I think I want to start a brand new opportunity just to show you how that process works. So I create a new opportunity, and this is creating a P21 opportunity on the fly. So in this case, I'm going to call this hose fittings. And if I want to, I can select a ship to. Now, if you're not familiar with P21 opportunities, and I know a lot of people aren't, they're really, really powerful, and you can do a lot of really neat things with them. We've expanded that somewhat. Inside of P21, you can only assign an opportunity to a customer. Now, imagine that you've got Home Depot as one of your customers, and you want to say, hey, this opportunity only exists for a specific ship to. You can do that in Web Connect. You can't do it in P21. So that's an example of us extending the power of Prophet 21. This guy only has one ship to. Well, I go and select that if I want to. Contact ID. This is John Riggins again. We need to make sure John's on all of this stuff so we can tell what's going on here. So John, here's John. Grab him, add him as a contact on here. Put some description down if I want to. We're going to call this host fittings. Fittings are what they need. Yes, and there's our description. Notice the opportunity size. It's at 1986. If you go back and look at that remote order, you'll find that it's that same size, which is pretty cool. It goes ahead and calculates what the size of the order or quote is, and uses that for the total over here. I do need to select a type. I'm going to call this a project stages quote. So opportunities have stages and steps and statuses, and if you start working with them, you'll see there's a lot of neat stuff you can do. I'm going to set a next step date, 28th, just to remind myself a week off to do something, and I think we're going to close this opportunity by October 31st. If I click next, it's going to think about things for just a second as it goes and builds this, and then opens up the full opportunity screen. Now, full opportunity screen has a bunch of stuff you can do. It's got my description down here. This is an interesting thing down here on the opportunity description. Inside of P21, if you use opportunities, you'll find that you have one big text field for your description. You can add a timestamp to it every time you add new notes, but it's one big giant text field. We had requests to actually make this multiple fields, so our multiple notes. So there's a switch that we can flip, a configuration setting that says, hey, either use the way P21 does it with one big text blob inside of the opportunity, or we can make them notes. So if you want to make them notes, you can do that, and I have mine set up to do it that way. You say I got this opportunity here, and it's for $1,986. It's for host fittings. I got a little textual description down here. I can add more notes if I want to do that. I can look at my contacts if I want to do that. I got John Riggins on here. We can add tasks to this. So I can go create a brand new task to do something, and expand this opportunity out and really, get it going, involve other people in this process of selling. So maybe some of these host fittings that I've got out there don't exist in P21 yet. And there is a way you can quote items that don't exist in P21 through Web Connect. It's really, really cool. But maybe I need to assign a task to purchasing to go ahead and find these items, source them, find out how much they're really going to cost me, and maybe even get them ordered. So I could go ahead and create a new task for purchasing this related to this opportunity to go get those things. I go over here to my products tab. This is cool. So this, when I created the remote order, each item that's in there is assigned to a product. When I create the opportunity, it breaks down all of the items on the remote quote to their basic product group, so I can see how this opportunity is broken out based on the type of products. We have cylinders, couplings, and fittings. It should have been most of the fittings if I'd taken the time to do right, but in this case, you see the idea. Now I can add a new product group if I want to on the fly here. It doesn't have to be linked to the quote. You can just do that if you want to. Same thing with suppliers. I did not link the suppliers in, but it did not link that. You can add competitors. You can see any other opportunities that are out here for Action Industry, which is kind of cool. Orders and quotes. There's no P21 order and quote, but we do have this one remote order that we have created. So anytime I open up this opportunity inside of Web Connect, I can get back to the source remote quote that we worked with. If this quote gets converted into an actual live P21 order, I can get to that P21 order too, but it can be linked to the opportunity as well. That's pretty neat. I can get to customer notes within the opportunity. I'm going to skip over projects real quick. Attachments, that's just a way we can upload documents. Maybe I have a bunch of specs and stuff like that. Or this is the audit trail. This is the P21 audit trail. So we show that. We can show what's going on so you can see that as well. I'm going to talk about projects just for a second. Projects are another extension of P21 that we put together. And this came about because we've had clients that say, hey, maybe we have a building project, and I use Hammond Towers as one that I've created in the past, that says we might have multiple customers that are a part of this project, and we want to create opportunities that are linked to the project, and we want to group and bundle all of those opportunities together for the project. So I could go ahead and say, I don't have a Hammond Towers for this one specifically, but I can go ahead and say, I'm going to go ahead and link this opportunity to this Quincy building renovation. So I'll move that guy over, and you can link the same opportunities to multiple projects if you want to. So that's kind of neat, because you might not want to bundle or group your opportunities based on a physical project. You might want to say, well, show me all my host fitting opportunities, and that are over, I don't know, $5,000 or something like that. And you have a special category for those right here inside of Web Connect. If you want to. But I'll show you what it looks like when you open up a project. So this is the Quincy building renovation. Open this guy up real quick. I said, I figure out what happened there. I must have a different URL in this different demo version. So I'll take a peek. I can go to the project. So I go to CRM. Back here, CRM. We go to projects. We get a full listing of them, and the Quincy building project is right here. It's got 22 opportunities linked to it. So I must have not something wired up on my live demo side. Interesting. I'll have to fix that. But the project listing is a wonderful thing in a project screen. Basically, will break down all of your opportunities by the opportunities themselves, any kind of tasks that are assigned to all of them show up on your dashboard, as well as contacts and quotes and orders. So it's a real neat way to manage a bunch of information about a bunch of different opportunities all in one place. So I apologize for the technical issue that we had on this, the project screen. I can show it to you on the other demo site. This live one, the one I used for Outlook, is evidently a little bit. So we've talked a little bit about the opportunities. You've seen them from coming in from the Outlook add-ins feature, all the way through to a P21 task viewed inside of Web Connect, all the way to the customer details screen, all the way through to a remote order form, linking that remote quote up to a P21 opportunity, which is, I think, pretty cool. We can assign tasks off of that, talk a little bit about projects, that kind of stuff. This is the opportunity listing inside of Web Connect, so it just gives you a place to search for and manage all the opportunities that are out there. I can filter this by a bunch of different stuff, by product groups, types, who it's assigned to, customers, all this kind of neat stuff, even customer classes and date ranges, things along those lines to make this stuff kind of fun. There's other views too that I really like for opportunities. One of them is the pipeline view. And so with the pipeline, you basically can go ahead and see all of your opportunities in these drag and drop cards. I know some of you have probably used something like this before. I just really love this as a way to just be able to quickly manage your opportunities. So since we've been working with Action Industry Supply, I might want to go ahead and just filter everything for Action. So I would, I must have taken the, I can filter by project. I must have taken the customer filter off of this for some reason in this version. Interesting. I can just do it by sales rep though. So let's just do Steve Dalton. See what Steve's got out there as far as his opportunities in the pipeline. And if I want to filter for that, I can do that and then just go ahead and move those down the road. So he's only got 3 opportunities, but you can filter for multiple sales reps if you want to here. But this just makes it really easy to manage. Instead of having to open each opportunity and think about it, you can just open up the specific opportunities for a specific set of sales reps or something along those lines. We'll also have the forecast view, which takes all of your opportunities and says, hey, when are they going to close? What's past due? That type of stuff. And then win-loss view, which is also really cool. I haven't got a lot of data in here for wins and losses because I tend to not actually go win or lose my demo systems. But in this one, normally you can see what we're winning, what we're losing, and then filter that by things like, the product types or the opportunity types, things along those lines. So managing this pipeline can be a really cool thing, and being able to see what you've got inside of Web Connect. So anyway, we work through the opportunities. Maybe I go back and find that one that we did for the host fittings. Maybe I win that opportunity and move forward and with that and go from there. But there are a bunch of features inside of Web Connect that we haven't talked about. There are a lot of analytic views. That was just kind of a quick straight line view through the system that I wanted to give you to show off a little bit of the capabilities. On top of things like the full Web Connect system and the Outlook add-ins that are out there, we also offer some native apps that are pretty cool. One for service, if any of you guys are inside and doing any kind of service for your guys out there, we can really customize the heck out of the way service works to fit your organization better than what is done inside of P21. And also we have some native apps for vendor managed inventory if you guys are into anything like that. that will basically allow you to go scan barcodes if you want to do that at your clients' locations. And of course, the cool thing about native apps is they will work offline. So a lot of times in a barcoding situation, you might be in a warehouse somewhere that you need to do that kind of thing with. And they're really cool. And we can customize those pretty quickly for you as well, and make those do pretty much whatever you want to as well. And again, they do work offline and that. So other things that the Web Connect system does beyond this is just kind of an overview screen. It's just a lot of information here. We can customize this for you as well to make it do pretty much whatever you need it to do. There's an inventory lookup feature that I think is pretty cool. You can go through and look up items if you need to. I like to look for boxes because that's all I can usually remember. Usually there's lots of boxes out there for our people. It'll take you to things like an item detail screen where you can see all kinds of information, almost like item master inventory. It keeps growing and growing and growing, getting more information out here. There are things that you can look up for orders and invoices. We have the concept of leads, which I think is really neat. It's a pre-prospect, so you can create leads inside of Web Connect before they actually have to go inside of P21 and be used there. So I like that feature. There's a calendar feature that is really neat. That'll show you all your upcoming tasks and things like that. This happens to be that task that I assigned to Dave. If I'm logged in as an admin, I can see everybody's task, which is kind of cool. I can move this guy if I want you to the next day, and it'll just drag and drop and things like that. So that I know that I could go on and on and on and explain a lot more stuff that Web Connect does. I would invite you guys to give us a call or hit up our website and request a demo if you'd like to see us take the system in more detail and different places that you would like to see that maybe are more pertinent to your organization. By the way, with Estes, we can install this thing in like less than an hour. It doesn't take any time at all. And we typically will give you a trial. And the trial can last pretty much as long as you want to, honestly, because people get sidetracked and do different stuff. And so we can install this thing, hook it up to your Play database so you can play around with it, look at your data in Play database, create opportunities in your Play database, tasks, remote orders, all that type of stuff, so you can see exactly how the system's going to work. And we can do the same thing for your Outlook add-ins. So please give us a call. Check us out on the web. It's p21connect.com. And with that, I'll go ahead and stop and see if there's any questions.
All right. Thank you for that, Andy. Go ahead and share ourselves out to the screen here. A couple of questions came in. Native apps. So how does that offline functionality work? Does it wait till it gets connectivity to load transactions that had been staged?
Yes, that's pretty much exactly what it does. It will work with the data that it has. So let's say you're using the native VMI app. It has a pretty interesting way of going through and finding inventory that is related to, say, the barcodes you're going to be scanning at the ship to you're going to be working with. It remembers them. But let's say you need to, for some reason, change those things around a little bit. You can do it within the native app, but once you're within internet access, it'll go resync basically and go bring all the items down. So one of the popular ways of populating the items that are going to be in a VMI barcode scanning thing might be using a P21 contract. Or you can also use a Web Connect quick order form, which I didn't go into, but they're kind of like P21 contracts. Well, let's say that someone is modifying the contract back inside of P21. As soon as the app hits the internet again, it'll go resync and grab new items that are on there, and then they'll be a part of the VMI app from that point.
Nice. Does it use the dates that were originally on those transactions? I think one of the fears I would think when I'm thinking through this is that the date of when the transaction gets physically processed versus when it gets updated in the system. Is it able to pass in those original dates, or does it use the date at the time of load? How does that function?
Yeah, I'm not completely sure, honestly. I'd have to defer to Ewell on that. He's the lead architect on the native apps. But for transactions type stuff, I mean, most of the native apps are going to be things like the VMI stuff and also the service type stuff. And I would imagine that it's going to be using the most relevant dates for things like the the date last modified for whatever it is we're working with. Or if things expire off of the contract, for instance, it's going to be looking at that information at that time.
That makes sense.
I hope I answered that question the way that makes sense to you guys.
I think so. Another question came through. My sales team quite often is working over less than optimal networks. Do you have some form of multi-factor authentication available?
We do. We have multi-factor authentication available. It's an option inside of the Web Connect system. Some people run and some people do not. There are actually a couple of different forms of it out there. Again, it is not. This is not one of my strong suits in the system. It's more something that Ewell could answer that question for you. How we set that up. I know there's a bunch of different ways we do it, or several at least. And yeah, if you want to know a little more information about that, just give us a call or shoot us an email, and we'll get that answer for you.
Sure. So, Andy, I had a couple questions of my own. What were the most challenging developments when it came to streamlining and automating that sales process? What were the biggest hurdles to get over, would you say?
Wow. Yeah. Well, so we've been doing this for about 15 years now. And the one of the original hurdles that we had were that basically just understanding the database, understanding P21 is from the data level. I spent a ridiculous amount of time just learning all that information to try to understand how P21 did things, and then how we could expand and do things better than P21 does, or different than P21 does to meet other organizations' needs. So to me, that was a very large challenge, just understanding the data model, and it was not for the faint of heart back in the day. Now these days we have the API that's out there. We can use that if we need to. There's all sorts of different ways to do that. There's a lot more documentation. There are people out there that are great at it in the users group, those types of things. But back in the day, that did not exist.
No, I don't imagine. Now, the way you described it sounds like there's a fair bit of tailorability based on a specific customer needs. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, absolutely. So I don't know if you remember, I talked a little bit about leads, and leads are that kind of cool pre-prospect thing. At least that's the way I thought of them. We had a customer who says, "Hey, we're going to import all of these leads from this lead generation tool we've got out there. It's got hundreds of customers. We don't want to, or thousands of customers. We don't want to put those inside of P21 because they're not vetted. They might not even be real." So the idea was, we'll import them, put them inside of Web Connect. You mine the leads. When you're ready, you click a button, they turn into P21 prospects. Well, we had a client that came to us and said, "Well, we want leads to be pre-opportunities." Oh, okay. Well, that makes sense. We can do that. So basically, we were able to go through and just underneath the hood, change the way the data flows and what links to what, and turn a lead instead of into a pre-prospect into a pre-opportunity. It only took us a couple of weeks to do it. That was with their specs and going back and forth. And then they were off and running. And then they also had some customizations that went for the projects. I showed you those kind of a grouping of opportunities. They had a completely different way of thinking about what a project is, as opposed to what a project is in Web Connect. And it had to do with the fact that in their world, in P21 you can link an opportunity to one customer. In their world, an opportunity might have multiple customers, which I thought was really fascinating, because you actually hand the opportunity off from customer A to customer B to customer C based on the stage of the opportunity, which I still think that's fascinating. And so even though P21 won't support that, and that's not the way we wrote it inside of Web Connect, we were able to make that change. And lo and behold, there's a new tab for their specific instance that has customers on it. So you have a primary customer that is linked to the opportunity, and then you have a set of other customers that have been linked at one time or another to that same opportunity. So that's just one example. We can do it pretty much for anything else you're looking for.
Well, that's neat. So you mentioned projects. My own background in projects, I come from a construction management background, which was very project based. Now, what industries were you originally tailoring the project module towards?
I think it was construction, because it was basically that idea. We had the example that was given to us was, hey, we got a building project. We're going to put a building together, and we're going to have multiple customers working on this. We've got plumbers working on it, with different plumbers working on different parts of the thing. We've got people doing the pressure piping, all that kind of stuff that's out there. We've got people doing drywall. We supply to all of these different customers. What we need to do is we need to be able to group all these customers that are bidding on different parts of this project into one project, so we can see all that information in one screen. So what customer won or lost this opportunity? What customers do we have bidding on different parts of it? And just being able to visualize that and make some sense out of it.
Excellent, excellent. Had just had a question come in through the wire.
Mhm.
Any chance this would link with Gmail?
With Gmail, I don't know. That I'm gonna have to defer to Eva. The answer is I think so. I believe so. We do it with Outlook. As far as the add-ins, I don't know. That is, I don't know that they would with the add-ins with Gmail. I'd have to ask Eva. There may be a way we can do something similar. I'm not familiar enough with Gmail to know if they have an add-in functionality that lets you link something like this. I guess underneath the hood, if there's a way to do that, it would work very, very similarly. We're just interrogating an email for various email addresses and then providing information based on that. I just don't know how the add-in thing works with Gmail.
Okay, very good. So Andy, any upcoming features or things down the road that we should be looking out for?
Oh, we're going to expand these Outlook add-ins quite a bit, and there's going to be a lot more connectivity that works between those and the full core version of Web Connect. And because of that, we're looking at kind of changing the role a little bit about the full version of Web Connect based on who you are and the Outlook add-ins and which part of the system those take over, if that makes any sense. So in some cases, if you're logged in as a sales rep, the information that you need to see may be slightly different now than it was before. We might want to make things more centric based on the way things are assigned to you through the system. Another part of the system that we're really working to expand out is our customer portal side of things. I didn't go into that very much, but one of the big things that we have is a way for your customers to log into the system and find information about their orders and their invoices, to see what they buy, and to interact with your organization without having to call back office here, your service reps, basically. And I really like that because they can actually do things like they can place their own. I showed you that remote order form. They can place their own orders through Web Connect using that same remote order form. They don't get to change the pricing. They don't get to see profit, things like that. That's a pretty cool tool. And there's also some neat things we do with our quick order system that allows them to rapidly place orders as well. And we're working to expand those systems out to give them even more power and to provide more of a dialogue-based interaction with the back office, which I think is really, really cool. And also, I also wanted to mention something about the VMI app, which I failed to, but most people think of the VMI app as where something your sales reps are going to have their phone and they're going to go out and scan barcodes, and it'll definitely do that. But it's also possible to let your customers download the same native app, scan items, and send orders in that way. And that is a really cool thing. If you want to provide your customers with something that maybe a competitor cannot provide them, give them a native app that they can order by scanning barcodes in their environment. That's
Nice.
cool. Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Andy. Appreciate the time. Appreciate the run through of the Web Connect tool set.
Thank you.
Yeah, you bet.
Thank you, Brad. Thank you, everybody. And we'll catch you guys next time around.